Okay, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our 9th webinar in the Eyes Wide Open webinar series. And joining us today are Shane Turner and Gloria McNeil, who are with the enforcement program with the City of Kitchener. And they're going to be sharing their experiences with us today around a community response in dealing with the establishment of a methadone clinic and the challenges and learnings that they've experienced over the last couple of years. So we're really excited to have them on board. Just a couple of things about our actual webinar. All of the webinars, including this one, are recorded, and they will be available online to anyone who's interested a couple days after each of the webinars is completed. And you just simply go to www.preventioncrime.ca and you'll be able to find them there. All participants are muted right now. Shane and Gloria would like to take questions at the end of their presentation. Have a couple of options here. We can, you can put your questions into the question chat box and I'll be able to have a look at those and read them off for you. Or alternatively, if you have a mic, you can simply raise your hand in the attendee list, and we'll call upon you and unmute your line at the end, and you can ask the question, but we'll give you a heads up for that. So also a follow-up survey will be sent via email at the conclusion of the series. So I think that's it for that. And I think I'm going to I'll turn it over now to Shane and Gloria and let you share your screens. So we're excited to listen to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you and welcome, everyone. My name is Shane Turner. I'm the Director of Bylaw Enforcement with the City of Kitchener, and with me today is Gloria McNeil, our Supervisor of Bylaw Enforcement and Property Standards. I'm going to be going through a few slides in our PowerPoint presentation, and want to indicate first the purpose of this webinar is to discuss some of the challenges that we've faced and we know some of our colleagues in other municipalities have faced with regard to community perceptions around methadone maintenance clinics. And what we'd like to do is also provide an overview of the outlook that the City of Kitchener has taken in facing some of the challenges or addressing some of the challenges that we've faced. By way of background, we found that there are essentially three models of methadone dispensing in the province of Ontario. The first is what we've called, and I believe it's been described by the Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons as an integrated model whereby the methadone is dispensed through a pharmacy, and for the most part the clients take their methadone at the pharmacy in front of a pharmacist. Dispensing can also take place through a family doctor. And the third model, which seems to be growing in use or popularity, is the concept of a standalone methadone maintenance clinic. And that's really the subject of our discussion today. The standalone clinic model has the most potential to create controversy in a neighborhood and also has the potential for requiring the most significant municipal resources in order to respond to the complaints and monitor the concerns of the neighborhood. What we've experienced is that a lot of the complaints that we receive are based on perceptions that methadone maintenance clinics will attract drug activity, increase crime in neighborhoods, possibly create safety concerns for children. As an example, one of the two clinics that are situated in the City of Kitchener, one is essentially in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and the neighboring properties of the clinic are the backyards of homes. There's been concerns raised around lowering property values, and we'll say from the outset that these are purely based on perceptions, and there's little to no real evidence that these perceptions really are the reality. The other thing, and these are the more common issues that we get complaints about, such as loitering, garbage, parking complaints, people that are being dropped off and the car sits idling while the client goes into the clinic. And we've even, believe it or not, we've even had complaints about dogs or bikes being chained to trees as people are going in to use their methadone. What we want to say here, and I think it's really important to understand that from a municipal level, a lot of these issues, like the loitering and the garbage and dogs and bikes on sidewalks and all this sort of stuff that we get calls about, really are very minor issues in the big picture, especially when you're talking about somebody that is challenged with an opioid addiction. But what we're finding is that if these small things are left unaddressed, they can have a big impact on the perceptions in the neighborhood. To give you an example of some of the reactions that we've experienced, particularly with the second methadone clinic that opened in the city of Kitchener, and I will say that we weren't advised ahead of time that the second clinic was opening until it did open, but almost immediately after it opened, we had delegations appearing at City Council asking for our city councilors to intervene and do something about it. And essentially this was before any type of any types of concerns were actually experienced, such as the litter and parking and the garbage complaints and all that other stuff that that comes into play. Another example of what was put on our plates right after the clinic opened, and again purely based on perception and not fact-based, was that the second clinic was in the vicinity of a dance studio that catered to young children, and of course it's not a school, but they use that schoolyard type of situation where they had concerns that these methadone users, as they would call them, were situated right next to a place frequented by children. What we found out when we looked into it was, in fact, that it was a dance studio, and the dance studio, for the most part, was closed when the clinic was open, and so that their hours of operation didn't conflict or didn't overlap in any way. So again, just another example of how a perception can really take on a life of its own. And typically the perceptions we're seeing are not based in reality. The reality is for us is that the clients that use methadone maintenance clinics, first of all, they're there because the treatment has been medically prescribed to them. They're all active members of the community. The majority of the people are working full-time. We do acknowledge that some people need more supports than others, but in the vast majority of cases, the cause of addiction is in no way related to crimes and criminal activity. A lot of it relates to addictions to painkillers because of other types of treatments and that sort of stuff. So that's really the reality that we see.